Air France's La Première cabin is widely reviewed as one of the best first-class experiences that anyone can ever get. But is it really? Watch this video to find out my experience and conclusion and how it compares to a few other first-class cabins that I've flown. As a bonus, I will also be talking about how to book this La Première seat, when to book and when not to, and how to make the best use of everything it has to offer. Let me clarify who this video is for and who will benefit out of this before we jump into it. If you're someone that travels La Première most of the time and don't mind 1 or 2 bad experiences out of 10, you might think this video is silly. But if you're someone who travels economy most of the time, business class a few times, and want to see what is the difference between first class and business class, then this video is for you. When you get that opportunity to pay a lot of money to upgrade to first class to see what is that they have to offer, you don't want to be disappointed by another mediocre business class experience. If you're flying from any other airport other than Charles de Gaulle in Paris, you're not going to get the full premium ground experience. That being said, when I stood in the red carpet for the La Première check-in, the ticket agent stopped what he was doing, came over to me and helped me with the check-in process. At the time of recording this video, which is January 2023, the Air France La Première lounge in San Francisco Airport was closed for renovation. Air France is using a Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse for their La Première passengers, which in my opinion is better than the previous Air France lounge. 30 minutes before boarding, another agent accompanied me to the plane. It was a full flight with a lot of people lined up outside the gate. I won't lie, I felt like royalty to walk past everyone, with the agent clearing the way ahead of you and leading you into the special first class cabin jet bridge. The plane was a Boeing 777-300ER, and as I walked inside, the purser and the flight attendant greeted me. I was preparing myself to be buried in first-class luxury for the next 10 hours, but my first look at the cabin was actually a little disappointing. Unlike what a lot of YouTubers described in their videos, the cabin actually felt a little dull, outdated, and the curtains were dirty. I took my seat and was offered a welcome champagne, which was a 2006 Blanc de Millionaire along with some Cheez-Its. Before I tell you why I felt the whole experience was underwhelming, let me reiterate something. In the US, the terms first class and business class are often used interchangeably. I booked a first class ticket on American Airlines from Chicago to Los Angeles. Although it was sold as a first class ticket, it was technically a business class ticket on a 4-hour flight. But with European, Asian, and Middle Eastern airlines, there is a huge difference between business class and first class. With first class, you get better, comfortable seats with plenty of room, more storage space, premium alcohol, sometimes Michelin star catering or equivalent to that, and an undeniably amazing, dedicated flight attendant taking care of you for the entire flight. The first class tickets are almost double the price of a business class ticket. So when you're paying so much for a first class ticket, certain luxuries become necessities. Keep this in mind. And especially if you've flown a few first class on other airlines, you tend to compare service and start to expect certain things as bare minimums. My seat A was comfortable with lots and lots and lots of room. The seat controls weren't as responsive as I thought they would be. Maybe it was just that particular aircraft where the control buttons were worn out. The in-flight entertainment display was awesome. The resolution was great, but the content was quite disappointing. There was also a flight camera view which didn't seem to work. I looked at the food and the wine menu. First of all, the choices were limited. There was only 1 champagne, 2 reds, and 2 whites, and a limited liquor selection. Guess what other airline had the same amount of choices? Air Canada's premium economy cabin when I flew from Athens to Montreal. Having flown Anna's first class and seeing the selection that was available on board, I felt La Première's selection wasn't even close. The food choices were also not quite extensive like Japan Airlines, Anna first class, or even Lufthansa first class. Let's talk about the service, which is the most important thing in first class in my humble opinion. On the way back to the US, which was 5 days later, I flew Lufthansa's first class from Frankfurt. Since both experiences were close to each other and the memories are still fresh, let me offer some direct comparisons along the way. The Air France Boeing 777 had 4 La Première seats, but I was the only passenger flying first class on that particular day. The Lufthansa 747 had 8 first class seats and there were 4 passengers. So in Air France, one would think they would get the undivided attention of the first class flight attendant, correct? Air France proved me wrong. The flight attendant assigned to the first class cabin seemed preoccupied and busy with something else. When I boarded the Lufthansa flight, the purser walked over to every single passenger, addressed all of us individually, talked about the flight time, distance, connections we had, their in-flight service style, how and when we wanted our meals to be served. He also gave us a card which had the code for free internet for the duration of the flight. With Air France, after about 2 hours into the flight, I started looking to see if there was internet available and noticed La Première passengers had access to free internet. I tried following the link to get connected, but I couldn't. I waited to talk to the flight attendant, but by that time, she had closed the curtains on the other side of the aisle and used that as her pathway to get back and forth to business class. So now I'm completely out of her sight. Finally, I rang the bell to get her attention, and when I asked about internet, she seemed like she didn't know anything about it. She took my phone with her, came back after 10 minutes, and had a code put in. Just for comparison's sake, I received the internet voucher from ANA, Japan Airlines, and Lufthansa the moment I boarded the planes. So I assumed that was the norm. For Air France flight attendant to not even know that such a thing existed? I'm surprised. I was served appetizers and soup. I will say that I appreciated the caviar on the appetizer, and the mixed salad was delicious and super fresh. This may seem trivial, but when I was eating my salad, I had 2 glasses in front of me and both were empty. I asked for some red wine at that point, and I was told that she will bring the red wine along with the beef main course. Can I have some water then? I felt like I had to beg to get something to drink. This should not be the case in La Première. The main course was absolutely terrible. Overcooked rubbery beef. I returned it immediately and she said she was sorry that I didn't like it and she took it back. No suggestions for a substitute. After that, I never saw her for a couple of hours. Rang the bell twice to get some refills, but that's about it. On the contrary, in the Lufthansa cabin, I was overwhelmed with both food and drinks. Every time the flight attendant saw an almost empty glass, she would ask if I wanted to have the same or if I wanted to try something different. If I said I wanted to try something different, the second flight attendant that was behind her would overhear us talking and would be on it even before she asks him to get it. I was having some coffee at one point and my coffee spilled on the tablecloth, creating a small stain. Next second, flight attendant brought another tablecloth and put it on top of the stain to cover it. Once I finished the coffee and the snack, she promptly changed the entire tablecloth. Again, this was not needed, but this shows how much the Lufthansa flight attendant cared about my first class experience. In my opinion, this kind of stellar service exceeds expectations and makes you ignore their small problems. After the first dinner service, I had a nap. The bed was great and comfortable. Woke up a few hours later and came back to my seat. Waited for an hour, but no one noticed that I was awake. Went to the bathroom to see if I can freshen up and brush my teeth, and maybe in the process also make myself noticeable to the flight attendant so she knows I'm awake, but I failed on both tasks. The bathroom was literally empty. I opened all the closets and couldn't find any toothpaste or mouthwash or anything else. After about 15 minutes, my breakfast was served, which was okay. But look at the fruit platter and the half-washed glass with thumbprints. I certainly did not expect this presentation from Air France La Première. I don't want you to get the idea that I came in with a critical mindset to find faults. No, absolutely not. In fact, I was so excited for this flight because it was one of my bucket list items. I posted on flight forums as to how excited I was for this flight, especially to fly on New Year's Eve and ring the new year from 35,000 feet. When I shared my disappointing experience on the same flight forum, I saw people commenting that they've had mixed experiences as well, and it really depends on your flight attendant and the crew that you have on board. So these La Première tickets are not cheap. They are upwards of $8,000. There's one way you can expect to book this ticket slightly cheaper. If you booked a business class ticket on Air France on a flight that has La Première seats, and you check in online 30 hours before departure, you might be given an option to upgrade by paying extra cash. This completely depends on the availability, and the upgrade cost depends on the demand and the distance. You could expect to pay anywhere between $1,500 and $2,800 for this upgrade on top of your business class ticket, depending on where you're going. I paid $1,870 for this upgrade and was super excited when I got the upgrade. But my La Première experience is more like a business class experience or even less. If people are paying so much for these tickets, then should an Air France offer a consistent experience to everyone? So if you ever decide to upgrade your business class ticket, keep this in mind before doing so, because you may or may not receive the same consistent stellar service from Air France La Première. And if you're desperate like me to take a chance and experience La Première, here are some tips. The food is supposedly better on flights from Paris to the rest of the world and not the other way. And I can vouch for the second half of the statement. So upgrade only on the leg that starts from Paris. The La Première lounge in Paris is phenomenal. This is another reason to upgrade on the leg that starts from Paris so you can experience the ground experience there. You will also be able to experience the lounge if you're connecting in Paris, so leave yourself at least 3 to 4 hours connection time. Last but not least, pray that you should get a good flight crew because they can make or break your experience. Thanks for watching.